I'm the Executive Director of Illinois Digital Educators Alliance, and we're excited to put together this session today and share, connect, get answers to any questions you may have, and just really collaborate together during this time. I do want to start with a few introductions and a few little requests. One, we are recording, so I just want everyone to realize that we are recording this. It will be sent out to everyone who's registered for our virtual coaching sessions, and they will be posted on our website as well. There is a chat window at the bottom, so if you hover over the bottom of your screen, you should see the little speech bubble that says chat. If you click on that, it will bring up the chat window. We encourage you to put any information in there about yourself, name, contact information if you feel comfortable sharing that, where we could reach you at, rather email or Twitter. And then at any point in time, any questions that you have or any comments that you have, we encourage please use the chat window. In addition, at the end of the session today, Whitney will be putting the link to the professional development hours in the chat window as well. So that's where you'll be able to find that link. And with that, I would like to take an opportunity for Whitney to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Whitney Miller. I am the Director of Finance and Membership with IDEA, and I'll be on monitoring the chat and kind of helping from the back end. So please feel free to drop any questions that you have, and I'll make sure we get them answered.
Thank you, Whitney. And with that, let's get started, and we'll have our special guests introduce themselves. And Jane, we'll start with you.
Okay, so my name is Jane Liquin. I am a 5th grade teacher. I've been a 5th grade teacher for most of my entire career. I'm so excited to be able to use the technology that we've been able to use these last 6 weeks. It's been amazing to turn education on its end and just to be able to see the things that other people are doing and to be part of this sharing community. There's so many generous people out there and you just don't realize it until you're in a situation like this. I teach at a small private Catholic school in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, St. Thomas of Villanova in Palatine, Illinois. I am incredibly lucky that we have one-to-one devices. I have students who I know have access to technology, have access to Wi-Fi. All of my students have that. And my students have parents that are pushing them and encouraging them and making it known that education is important regardless of whether we're teaching in the school or we're teaching in the home. So I have a lot of amazing blessings on my end of being a teacher in this digital age, in this time that we've never lived through before. I'm really looking forward to sharing the things that are working for me and my successes later on. And I welcome any way that I can share my experience or help anyone else. That's why I'm here today, because there's just so many awesome people in the world, and I want to give back a little bit if I can.
Awesome, Jane. Thank you so much. Andy?
Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Faculty. I am an instructional technology specialist from Indian Prairie School District 204, where I serve and work with teachers from our preschool level through our high school level on all things not just instructional technology related. So, best practices in bringing technology into the classroom, and now I'm supporting teachers at home, right? With how do you make your lessons digital? How do you bring resources home? How do you connect with your students? And I'm happy to join everyone today and support all of you.
Awesome, Andy. Thank you so much. And you did say, just to clarify, your district is pre-K-12, right?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. That's what I thought. Thanks. All right. So the first thing that I would like to do is just, I like to pose the question in regards to the current situation that we are in. So from a remote learning perspective, how things are going for you in your role, or examples of others that you might want to share as well. But essentially kind of give us a little bit of background in regards to what your week looks like, how your district or building has set up the remote learning, and then some of your successes that are occurring individually or within your building or district.
I'll jump in. So our week looks like, so depending on the level, we are doing instruction 4 days a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday is a catch-up day for our students, as well as for our teachers to plan, prepare for the next few days. That Wednesday day is being used as an SEL day as well, for students to experience some SEL learning activities, take time to reflect and think and do some of that work as well. And then depending on the level, it's what type of work is being assigned in those days. So at the high school level, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but odd periods are on Mondays and Tuesdays, and even periods are on Thursdays and Fridays, or something like that. To kind of break up students' focus, and so they're not getting slammed with, every period, every day, kind of a thing. And then we're really trying to follow the ISB guidelines for minutes for students. As far as how much work should they be doing at home, how much how much are we assigning, how much are we requiring of them, and I think that has been working really well. Some successes that we've had is just I would say one of the biggest successes has been connecting with teachers and teachers realizing some of the power that technology has on their classrooms that maybe they hadn't realized in the past. I had a conversation with a teacher who was struggling because she said, I have to give this quiz and I've only ever done it paper pencil, right? How do I make a quiz digital, right? And so, and we think, all the time that, we've been beating this drum and we've been having this conversation over and over, and by now everyone should know how to put a quiz on a Chromebook, right? But it was a new thing for her to explore and for us to kind of talk through, and she really it really opened her eyes to, oh, look at all the things that are happening here. And so I think a lot of those things that people are learning now, all the great tools that people are exploring and utilizing now, are going to carry over to next year and into the future, and people realize, like, oh, look at the great things that I did with technology during this time. Now I can bring that to my physical classroom, whenever we go, whenever that happens, and continue to do those things. Lastly, I think teachers have been able to prioritize what are the things that are really important, right? A lot of times, we're holding on to things because, we've always done DOL, or we've always done whatever it may be, whatever it might be. And having the focused time, right, has really required teachers to kind of be reflective and say, why am I doing this activity? Why am I giving out this worksheet? Is there another way that I could deliver this? Or is this really essential for my students right now? And so I think it's kind of forced people to cut some things out, trim the fat, let's say, But now they're really capturing what the essential learning outcomes are for their courses and for their students.
I took so many notes during that, Andy. So awesome. So I'm going to let Jane share as well. So yeah, if you see me doing this, it's because I'm taking some notes and writing down some things that I'd like to for us to reflect on as we're sharing. So thank you so much. Jane, how about you?
So I was also taking notes while Andy was talking, because we have also embraced that 4-day-a-week model, but ours, we are doing Monday through Thursday learning, e-learning, and then Friday is our free choice Friday, where we still put out learning activities on a choice board, and it's the students use it as a catch-up day for any assignments Monday through Thursday that have not been completed. Teachers use that date also to check in with those students that haven't, you know, kind of fallen through the cracks a little bit. And then, but it's also a free choice day where students have learning opportunities on a choice board. So we're trying that. Actually, this will be the first week that we're doing that. Previous to this, we had been doing learning on all of our days. So this is something new, but I think it's going to open it up a little bit more, and it is going to give teachers also that freedom on Friday to prepare the next week's lessons and to get a jump on the things that we need to do. I love the social emotional piece, the SEL opportunities you put on Wednesday. That's a really cool idea, and I'm going to open that up to our school social worker as well. Just she right now is sending out like a Google Doc that has different resources in it, but I really like that as making that a day. For the rest of what is happening for me in the classroom, every morning at 7:30 a.m. on Google Classroom, I have scheduled the Google slide deck that I prepared for my students. And in the slide deck, you know, there's an opening good morning greeting. There is a reading page and a reading lesson. We're doing a novel study right now. So I give a purpose for reading. We talk about what is our learning objective for that day. There's a slide for our math lesson. We Zoom in my personal classroom. We're Zooming twice a day at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 2 o'clock. And the 10 o'clock is a definite face-to-face lesson I'm teaching, whether I'm teaching through the different resources that I've got on my computer. I just finally hooked in a document camera into my computer so that I can share my screen, but I can use my document camera with a whiteboard. I'm just really exploring all sorts of different technology options. But Google Slides has been crucial for me. Google Classroom is our main platform that we're using. Flipgrid and Seesaw are my two main go-tos in terms of having students share their thinking and share their learning. WeVideo has become more and more important and dear to my heart. I'm also responsible for creating our daily school announcements. Our principal does daily announcements that go out to the entire school population, and I've been working to create those. So that's the other thing I do on Saturdays and Sundays. I was talking about earlier, the most generous people in the world are the professional learning communities that I am aligned with. I belong to two different Facebook groups, hyperdocs.co and Reading and Writing Strategies. And hyperdocs have changed my life during this time, and I am using them every day, weekly, for students to take charge of some of their own learning. And I'm working really hard to put that piece back onto my students. You need to take charge of your education and your learning. You can do it, and to support that more independent move. Like I said, I have fifth graders, so 10 and 11 years old, and I have to tell you, they are rising to the challenge. I'm pretty excited about that. And another thing that Andrew said, looking forward to next year, oh my gosh, next year at this time, I have so much that I have organized in my Google Drive that can be used next year. And for us to think, not to do the same things year after year, the way we've been doing them, this gives us such a chance to prioritize and to think about what's really important and how to get that content across. So those are just some of the things that have been working for me, that I've been using, and it's going along. 6 more weeks. I think we can make it.
I think you're right. Hard to believe that we've got 6 weeks left of it for sure. But, you know, I think what's most exciting for me is hearing the stories that you're both sharing, and, you know, those successes and those aha moments that people are having, and that reflection piece of I love that people are asking, what have I been doing and why have I been doing that? And is that the best thing to be doing? You know, Andy, you mentioned what we've always done, and that, oh my goodness, that is like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. When I hear that, you know, being said, especially in the world of education. So I do think that this has been a time where, you know, we are going to start seeing less and less of that, you know, and see some of these changes that we've been begging for in education.
Mm-hmm.
So both of you mentioned some resources. I would love if you would put them in the chat window, if you don't mind sharing some of what you did mention, if you have links directly to them. When we do send out this recording, we do share the chat curation as well, so those resources will show up. I don't know, and maybe either one of you might know, for whatever reason, I've noticed Zoom is not linking any links that we put in the chat window anymore. I've been participating. It's fine. I don't know if you saw my son come in also, Andy, so it's totally fine. No worries. If she pops in, all good. We love kids and animals and everything.
Right.
So, but yeah, so anyway, I apologize that for whatever reason, we're not sure what's going on, but links aren't hyperlinking. So unfortunately you do have to copy and paste them in right now, but better than nothing at this point. So if you don't, and I probably will talk to you about a few of these resources that you mentioned as well, but again, if you don't mind putting those in the chat window. I did add in, when Jane was talking about the SEL stuff, our team worked together to put a framework based on CASEL, and it's a collaboration of ideas for students specifically designed to SEL. So that bit.ly is in there that we have used and created, and it's on our website. So you're more than welcome to not recreate the wheel and take a look at it. It is pre-K-12 designed, but those are some SEL ideas that the IDEA team came up with. Andy, I wanted to go back to you a couple questions that you mentioned, staying with the SEL, that Wednesday is your catch-up day, your SEL day. What are some of the SEL things that you are doing? I'm sure it depends on the grade level, obviously. But do you have some specifics that you can share as well?
Yes, I will. I'll throw some SEL resources in the chat. So we have an SEL team at the district level that has really been leading the charge. It has representation from all of our grade levels, but it's really been leading the charge around the implementation of the CASEL framework, what it looks like at each grade level. And they have been developing question prompts, dinner conversations, little, kind of little quick things that work on that SEL piece and that reflective piece, whether it's, mindful minutes or, discussion questions, things for families, social stories. So that was one that I saw today. They it was a social story about the coronavirus, right? And it's geared for, it was designed for, I think it was designed by Autism Awareness or one of those organizations, but just has so much value for all of our students and especially our younger learners, right? Like, why do we need to stay 6 feet apart? Why can't we go to school? Answer some of those questions, right? And so how can we take a resource like that and bring it into, or provide it to our families to bring into our e-learning. So yeah, I'll throw some of those resources in.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. I love social stories. I was a former school counselor, and those can be so effective. And I love that you're doing it across the board, K-12 and involving parents. I think that's, important as well, especially during this time. One other question that I had for you as well is the periods in the day at the high school level, and I'm asking this partially because I'm also the parent of a high school student. So Monday, Tuesday, so essentially one day a week, they're only engaging on half their classes, right? So let's say they have a typical 8-period day. Only 4 of their classes are meeting Monday, Thursday, and the other 4 then are Tuesday, Friday.
Correct.
Interesting. I really like that. I really like that idea. And then how did you guys determine Wednesday, breaking up the week like that? Do you know what that was? It's interesting because I have heard a lot of 4 days, but I've never had anyone share yet that Wednesday is that off day.
So normally Wednesday is a professional learning day for our staff. So we have PD Wednesdays, right? Late start Wednesdays or early release Wednesdays, every Wednesday throughout the year. So we felt that Wednesdays would be good because staff is used to having that Wednesday to meet and collaborate with their PLCs. Additionally, we felt that for students, if we could engage them on Mondays and Fridays, that it would keep them engaged and keep them engaged through the week, right? Because we want them to be using Wednesday as that day to possibly catch up, right? If there was something that they missed or that they needed to complete. And so part of the thought was, if it was every Monday off or every Friday off, it'd be easy for our students to say, oh, this is just a 3-day weekend, or that type of thing. Where if they're hooked in on Monday and Tuesday, and then they can kind of keep it going on Wednesday and kind of build momentum through the week. So that was just some of the conversation and thoughts to designing it that way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially if the PD days that you do already are on Wednesdays, and that's an early release day. So yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I love that setup, and it's unique. I'm gonna have to share this out with some other high school districts. Jane, you had mentioned that I love the Free Choice Friday idea as well. That's phenomenal, and I know this will be your first Friday coming up doing that. But you also mentioned choice boards, and we've had a few people in these sessions that are not familiar with choice boards. I don't know if you have a link to one that you can put in, but can you just share a little bit about choice boards and how you designed it and some of the activities you've included?
Sure. I wonder if I can share my screen. Would you want to see? Today is, well, we know it's Earth Day. And one of the choice board I put out today was an Earth Day choice day, and they were able to pick here. I'll see if I can find it for you. Hold on a moment.
Yep. If you hover, oh, there you go. You know how to do it.
Yeah, I have it right here. Let's see. Oh, that's Thursday. Okay. Just give me a moment here. Here's Earth Day. So this is what I was talking about with just some of the Google Slides that I create. So this was my Google Slideshow deck for today. And we had the Earth Day choice board. So let me just run to this real fast and then I can show you. So choice boards usually give students choices. So on this particular choice board, I asked them to choose 3 activities from the choice board below and to submit it through Google Classroom. What my goal is to take some of these activities that they did and sent pictures of, and I'd like to create a wee video of 5th grade doing Earth Day things. So for example, there were 8 choices. They could do a photo scavenger hunt today. So take a scavenger hunt with the family on their walk, and what can they find and take pictures of. Neighborhood cleanup day, pick up trash, wear gloves, wash your hands, of course. There was a choice of creating a digital flyer that explains ways that people can reduce their ecological footprint. We did a text features poster activity, and so I was relating back to that as an option for them. Ed Puzzle, I forgot to mention Ed Puzzle. I should tell you about that a little bit too. So this is a cool Ed Puzzle Earth Day video. And then my request was that they write a short paragraph about what it means to be an activist. Do you know anyone who's an activist? The choices went on: go work in your garden, show me a picture, tell me what you did there, create a recycle project, bird feeders, art projects. I've already gotten a couple of these pictures that are just wonderful. Recycling fact sheet, and then submit a picture of you organizing the recycling. And then there's a link here to calculate your ecological footprint, and then write 3 things you learned from the simulation about how many Earths you would need. So this was just a choice board that actually, again, this was on hyperdocs.co. I used it, that it's all out there as share this. Please use this if you would like. I did modify it a little bit to really focus more in on my particular students, but this is just an idea of what a choice board looks like. Giving students choices, activities, and I can always tell if it's a good choice board by how few questions I have about it. Did the students understand the content and understand what I was hoping for? So that's an idea of a choice board. And I put in the chat window that hyperdocs.co is just a wonderful site. They have a section called Teachers Give Teachers, as kind of a takeoff on the Teachers Pay Teachers, but instead it's Teachers Give Teachers. And it's just a wonderful resource. Everybody's like, make a copy, share it, use it yourself, change it, modify it. And that's really been huge for me. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already been taken care of. You can just mix it up a little and make it work for you. So that's a little bit about choice boards.
I love that choice board. I was also a science teacher, and so of course love anything Earth Day related, obviously, as well. But that's so cool, and so many great activities. And I love that you're including, family being able to be involved in that as well. And I think one of the things that we miss sometimes in education is how some of those activities that you were talking about can include I guess that project-based learning idea where all content areas can be included in some of those activities. They can write, they can do some math activities, they can figure out some science of how some things are working. And so I think that's another one of my hopes that kind of comes out of this situation is in education, we also start realizing how all of those content areas can be included in some activities, I suppose, if you want to call it STEM or STEAM, and the importance of that. So thank you so much for sharing that choice board. That was fabulous. At this point, I just want to take, we're about 30 minutes in, so I kind of just like to take a little bit of time and see if any of our participants have any specific questions, whether it be something that Jane and Andy have talked about, or if you came with your own questions. So now would be a time you can either come off mute and ask the question, or if you have a question that you would like to put in the chat window, please feel free to do so. I always have plenty of notes to catch up on as well if no one has any questions. I'm loving the resources that are being shared so far. So if there aren't any questions. All right. Jane, one of the things that you had mentioned also is the daily announcements.
Mm-hmm.
So can you share a little bit about what application or how you're putting those daily announcements together?
Sure. Actually, just right before this, from noon to 1, I was at the We Video training session. Yes, I think I saw you there, Amber, because so I was one of those people that really got in very early, way back in the middle of March when they said, all right, we're gonna close down the schools. March 16th, our first day of e-learning. And we, at the time, I didn't know what it would look like. I had no picture in my mind, but I had heard a lot about We Video, and actually from our ISD cohort, from our training. And I was like, oh my gosh, that looks like such a cool program. And We Video was offering free subscriptions during this. You know, if you're interested in a free subscription, please fill out this form. And I remember scrolling through it like 3 in the morning thinking, yes. I don't know if anybody else does that, but sometimes I'm in the middle of the night and I found We Video's form to fill out if you wanted a free subscription. And I asked for it, and then I promptly forgot that I had done that. And about 2 weeks later in my inbox, We Video said, hey, we're gonna grant you your subscription. You're an admin. Here's the program. And I was like, what? And at the same time it had happened that my principal said, I wanna start doing daily announcements. I think I need to reach out to the kids. I need to reach out to the families. I need to do that. And even though I'm a 5th grade teacher, but I'm also the tech resource at my school, just because I love it so much, and I embrace tech, and I learn tech, and I love tech. And so she came to me about the morning announcements, and I said, oh, I just got this We Video thing. Let me look at it. And so I started doing daily announcements through We Video, and she would record her parts. I asked families throughout the school to record the opening prayer and to record their kids saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And I got I asked 5 families, and then I would Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'd plug in a different family doing the pledge. The principal always had her part. But what I saw from We Video is that, I could make some cool good morning STV students and faculty. So the We Video program is pretty amazing for just creating openings, putting music at the bottom, being able to take those various video clips, upload them into the program, and have seamless morning announcements. And we've been doing that since, well, for at least 3 weeks now. It's going well. I love the We Video program. Even though I went to the training today from noon to 1, it's a very intuitive program, and I was able to create those announcements fairly easily. It is time consuming, but it's just so fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And maybe that's something you could continue when we are back in school, and maybe some students could help
Yes.
develop that.
Exactly, exactly. When I send out the links to all the videos, I usually on Sunday night, I send out a video with the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday links to each of the WE videos. And I said in my note to teachers, I'm like, guys, this is so fun. I hate having all this fun by myself. Who wants to learn how to do morning announcements? Needless to say, nobody jumped.
Nobody jumped at it?
No, but I'll put in the chat. I'll put one of the links to a couple of the morning announcements.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Would
I'll
love
do
to see
that. I'm going to go figure that out right now.
All right.
I'm still here listening.
Okay. Andy, a couple of follow-ups for you. One, kind of staying in this moment of what, Jane was talking about. She had mentioned the principal creating these daily announcements as a way to reach out to students and teachers and families. Do you have some examples? How are your teachers reaching out to their students or families, or what's kind of your district's plan on ensuring that there is that, that engagement?
So yes, so there's a couple of ways that our teachers are connecting. We are a heavy Google Classroom district, so the majority of our teachers are using Google Classroom to push out materials and resources. Additionally, we have really been pushing Zoom, or encouraging, I shouldn't say pushing, encouraging using Zoom to connect teachers to students and provide opportunities for instruction. Record yourself, reading a story or giving a lesson, and push that out to your students. That's been one of the biggest things that I've been supporting, because that's new for all of us, right? How do you record yourself? What does that look like? How do you get it into the hands of your students? What's the delivery platform? We are using WeVideo for that because it's open and accessible for all of our students, whereas YouTube is not, right? Just our high school students have access to YouTube, or at least the full YouTube platform. So doing things like that, connecting through video, and then just finding other ways to connect with your students. Whether it's teachers sending messages, sending notes, just other things to show students that your teachers are still here, we're still working, we still care, still providing instruction. Those are I think the big things that we've been trying to make sure that our families know and recognize and see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, kind of coming from the parent perspective, I feel like that's something that my son is missing right now. Last week, he's part of game club at his school. And the game club sponsor put together a Google Hangouts where the kids got together and got to talk and everything, which was phenomenal. And he had it was like the best part of his day. So I do think it's so important to remember that even though it is virtual face-to-face like we're doing here, that still is so incredibly important, and the students really, really still need to have that virtual face-to-face engagement. So I think that, I'm glad to hear that your district is promoting that as well.
I had another resource.
Yes, there you go.
I'm going to share.
That's what I was going to. Thank you. Yes, I was like, what else? I know I wrote it down. No, I saw it in the chat window. Virtual field trips. Is that the one you were going to talk about?
So I'm going to talk. So I can share that one. I was going to share. Here, I'll share my screen. I'm going to share two resources. So let's look at our virtual field trips. So so starting big picture, some other things that I've been working on at a district level are some resources that we can provide our teachers that they can pass along to families of other learning opportunities and learning experiences. So trying to collect resources in one place where teachers can go and then pull one thing, like, and then they can focus on, what are those essential things in their content that they want to work on. But, you always have families that are looking for more, or you just want to give other learning opportunities to your students. So we've done this in a couple of different ways. One way that I put in the chat are all these virtual field trips that we've collected, national parks, there's tons of different museums throughout Chicagoland, or animals to visit, outer space, kind of collecting, these virtual field trips or virtual learning experiences for our teachers to pull from and add to their lessons. And then something new that we launched yesterday was this. So this was a resource that I'll make a copy of and put it in the chat because it's closed to our district at the moment. But this was a resource that we developed of just some additional remote learning activities that, again, could just be a place where teachers could pull from and bring into their lesson, bring into to what they're doing. So just kind of a background of what it is. One thing that we're doing to support our teachers are office hours. So we hold office hours every day of the week where teachers can join with questions that they have, whether it's instructional technology related, video creation, best practice questions, or content specific questions. So we wanted to just highlight these. We're trying to bring the district together on Twitter, so we have a new hashtag that we're rolling out, just to kind of share what are those great things that you're doing, what are those great things that your kids are doing. So our hashtag is, I don't know if you can see that, is hashtag 204 Learning Never Stops. So check it out on Twitter. It's just getting started, so there's not much there yet, but we're hoping it takes off. And then we have our menu of remote learning activities. So what we've done is tried to just highlight some activities that teachers can pull in around STEM, Breakout EDU, and some of the digital Breakout EDU elements, digital citizenship, something related to ELA, math, science, and then just an other category where we're highlighting, this week was Earth Day and National Parks Week, so we highlighted those. Next week we're going to be highlighting some computational thinking activities, and so these link directly to a lesson where teachers can just copy the whole slide and paste it into whatever they're pushing out to their students. So hey, as a fun challenge, try and make your own catapult, right? Using popsicle sticks or whatever you have around your house. Or here's a Breakout EDU that you can try and solve as a fun challenge today. Here's some digital citizenship activities that we can think about. We're going to use the BRNet Awesome program and highlight one pillar every week for the next, there's 5 pillars, so for the next 5 weeks, we'll highlight one each week and then a couple of activities. We're using Pear Deck a lot in our district and the student pace mode that's connected to Pear Deck. So Pear Deck is a tool that allows you to make a slide deck interactive. The student pace mode allows students to work through that slide deck at their own pace, so that a teacher can go in and create all the interactive questions that they want to use, all the drag and drops, all the draw here, all the text response, whatever the elements are that they want to make interactive. And then anytime during the day, students can join, because you have those students that are up, right? 8 a.m., they're ready to go. And then you have my son who, slept until 10:30 today, right? And then, and you know, and not really, but you know, who's more of a later starter, right? So, but they can, you know, they can jump on that peer deck, right? Put in their responses, and then on the back end, on the teacher end, they can see, you know, every student's response and every student's interaction with the slide deck kind of in one spot. So we're using Be Internet Awesome and some of their integrated peer deck lessons. You know, for science this week, we just did you know, make some foam, make some slime kind of a thing. And then we have Earth Day for today, and National Parks Week, which is last week through the end of this week. So just some other resources that we're providing, and our plan is to kind of keep this updated and keep it going, so that that teachers can keep checking back. We do every day a full district email goes out to all of our staff, letting them know what resources are available, what questions. You know, like HR is getting a ton of questions about, you know, I was in the middle of college courses, and are these still going to count? Like, you know, so we put in some of those HR questions, but every day at around 10 a.m., this email goes out to all staff. And so that allows us to highlight some resources every day as well, right? So, hey, check today, you know, we added a couple of new resources for you to use with your students. Again, these are optional, but if you're looking for something else to kind of engage your kids, here's something to pull from. Or, you know, even thinking about, you know, it's a lot on teachers to, for them to be building everything digitally. Maybe teachers need a break, right? Like, because they're home, right? You know, they might be home with their own kids and teaching, and, you know, or, you know, whatever their home situation is, right? So maybe, you know, maybe one day they're just pulling, you know, their hour of learning is going to come from this deck, right? So if it's, you know, at the 4th grade level, right, where, you know, it's like you know, between an hour and 90 minutes, I think is the guidelines, right? So maybe they just pull, you know, I'm going to pull 4 things, 4 15-minute activities or whatever it might be from this deck, and that's going to be my day of learning for my kids. So just kind of trying to ease the burden on teachers, ease the transition on teachers, but also give them some really valuable learning experiences, so that if you're struggling for something, you have this place that you can go and pull things from, and you're not reverting back to some mindless worksheet or meaningless activity. You can pull some really great stuff from here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You were sharing this, how incredible of a resource this would be, and how much the teachers have to appreciate this. I know that would have been a life changer for me, being in the classroom. So that's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that, Andy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, those were wonderful, wonderful resources. I'm wondering, well, if anybody else has a question, please jump in. I have a question though, for my own personal information about breakout EDU rooms. I've kind of avoided that. I have not gotten into that yet, but I've always been very curious about it. Do you know how that works, Andy? Do you know how? I do. Okay, tell me. If you, I mean, unless somebody else would like to break in, we can do it another time. But
no, I would love to hear as well, because we actually, that's an area that we haven't had anyone really talk about in our sessions yet. So yeah, no, that would be great.
okay.
Great. All right. So breakout EDU is you know, an activity that brings that idea of an escape room to your classroom, right? Okay. And breakout EDU started with physical boxes, right, where you know, students have a series of puzzles and things to solve in order to get into the box, right? Similar to an escape room where you're trying to get out of the room, kind of an idea. And the whole idea or background of breakout EDU is that students need to work collaboratively, think creatively, use those critical thinking skills to really solve these puzzles. What breakout EDU has done, and this isn't new, but I want to say maybe 2 years ago, they launched a digital platform. So what the digital platform looks like is it takes the entire experience of a breakout EDU and puts it into a digital format. And so here's an example of, I know you teach 5th grade, so here's an example of a upper elementary game.
Okay.
So when the students open the game, this is what they're presented with. And so they have a scenario, right? So Connie is trying to open her own confectionery. Grand opening is today and orders are coming fast. Can you help her solve these puzzles to be successful, right? And so this tells the students that in order to successfully break out or solve the puzzles, they have 4 different elements here. So they're going to have a color lock, a number lock, a second color lock, and then a directional lock. Then they get a little clue, and then a video or an image of the puzzle, right? And so this one, the topic is all around context clues, right? And you have to watch the video in order to understand it, but you can see the different words. And then down at the bottom, they need to select what shapes or what colors match
From the macaroons. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is like tradition. So which would that be? Again, we have to watch the video.
It's okay.
But that gives you an idea. And it's nice because they have these for every level, right? So this one is the first grade level, and you have all the way through high school level, right? Which we've called challenge because we know that our high school students have plenty of content to work through. And we didn't want to limit it for our teachers. But we thought if we called it challenge, they might be able to still take advantage of some of the more challenging experiences.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you. Are these free on that website, or the Breakout EDU website? How does that work, logging in and accessing?
Yes, so there are a number that are free. Here we go. So if you go to breakoutedu.com and you log in, there is this message of fun at home, where they have made a number of their games free.
Okay.
So all of these games are open and free for anyone to take advantage of. And they're all leveled. You can also see that some of them are even aligned to standards as well. So they have made, and these are all digital ones that they've made open, accessible, and free for anyone during this time.
Connie's confectionery is free. I'm excited.
Yes. Yeah.
You sold me on that
Throw
one.
that link in the chat window.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And normally they, I gotta figure out how to get to chat. All right, let me stop share. There we go. And normally they have a number of games that are free, and then they have their premium tier. So 10% of the games are free, and then there's like a premium level where I think it's $40 a year to get access to all of the entire library of games.
That's reasonable.
Yes. Yeah, it's great.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so we're down to our last 5 minutes, and I always have a final question that I like to finish with. But before I ask that, I just want to make sure that our attendees have a chance to ask a question if they want. And again, feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat window. Just remember that you're asking questions for all of our people who watch these recordings as well. So feel free to think about that. We're getting a phenomenal amount of people watching our recordings, which is really, really cool and exciting. But feel free to put that in the window. Kevin is asking, Andy, are the office hours that you use busy with people attending?
Up and down. It hasn't been, has not been, to be honest, it has not been very busy. We have a few people that jump in each one, but it's also been nice, right? Because people can jump in and get that one-on-one support. I actually had a principal share one of my office hours with their entire staff. And so I had an entire building that joined at one time. Luckily, fortunately, the building, they all kind of had the same thing that they were struggling with. But it became a PD session, right? So, I can, turn this into a PD session for all of you. But again, it just provides another avenue. We've done a number of things. We have, two very easy to use email addresses, support at IPSD and questions at IPSD. So just easy things for staff to do or families to do to get in touch with us. Office hours just provides that another avenue to reach out and connect.
That's great. Thank you. So the last question that I always like to kind of finish with is just your quick initial thoughts of inspiring or motivational advice that you would give to educators today in regards to the remote learning experience. So I know we're kind of halfway through it. There's been some changes along the way, but if you had something inspiring or motivational to share today, what would that be?
Okay, I'll go first. Inspiring or motivational. I think the best thing I could say is to reach out to people. There's so many people that are willing to help you and are willing to do whatever they can to make you successful. And I speak from personal experience. When I need something, I have my go-to people, but I also have the internet large go-to people, my people on my Facebook groups, my Twitter people, my faculty and staff that I work with. Ask for help, ask for people. And we talked about, kind of easing up on our kids because we don't know the family situations. We don't know what our children are dealing with in their homes on a daily basis. We're not in those homes. And so we've been told to tread lightly about grades, about requiring them at Zoom meetings, about requiring them to complete assignments. It's a kinder and gentler world right now for our kiddos because we don't know. But we also have to have a kinder and gentler world on our teachers because, as you say, some teachers have children at home, have a mother-in-law in the hospital, have a husband that just lost a job. We don't know what's going on in our teachers' lives, what's going on in our children's lives, and I love the compassion that is coming out of a lot of my conversations. And so I would just leave everybody with that, to be compassionate, reach out, and get outside and get some fresh air. That's what I try to do.
That is awesome, Jane. Thank you so much. Andy?
My message is to keep going. Keep doing the things that you're doing. Keep doing your best to support your students. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be the best teaching you've ever done. Focus on making some small connections. Focus on what's most important right now. Is really just getting through this very difficult time. So keep going, keep working, and reach out for support and reach out to connect.
So true. Absolutely. And I will just, with both of, what you have both said, that's what I love about my job. And I say that frequently. I have the best job in the world because I get to work with passionate educators like both of you, who are so willing to give and support and connect with others outside of their districts, outside of their regions. And it really is making a difference. So thank you both for sharing your time and expertise and inspiring us today. This has, I can't believe it's 2:30 already. I have pages of notes, and I cannot wait to share out some of these resources that you both shared today. So thank you very much. And I did just want to note, Kevin also added, watching teachers learn and grow during a very difficult time has been very inspirational. And Kevin, I completely agree. I love these hours that we are having each day where we get to hear these fun, inspiring stories, and a way to really kind of take us away from the difficulty of the situation that we're in, but see the good that's happening. So thank you for sharing those stories, Andy and Jane, as well. Whitney has also put in a link for the professional development hour for the day. So feel free to, again, sorry that they're not hyperlinking automatically. You'll have to copy and paste that link in. But if you can go ahead and fill that out, that will get you the professional development hour that you need to upload into the Ellis system. And Jane and Andy, if you need those PDHs, feel free to fill that out for yourselves as well. All right. Well, again, thank you all so very much. We will be posting this online in the next 24 hours. And feel free to join us again tomorrow at the same time. And we will stay in touch, and feel free to reach out to us if there's anything we can do to support you.
Thanks so much, Amber. Thank
you. Andy and Jane, thank you all
Andy.
very much.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody. Bye.